Hey guys, Leaf here. So, today we're going to be departing from our normal content of really in depth movie reviews and thoughtful podcasts. Um, and today we're going to dig even deeper into the things that really matter in our world, the things that just change you as a person, you know? I mean, and it's politics. And today we're going to be politicking with Cenk and Scott. And Cenk and Scott are pretty good dudes. Yeah. So what politics am I? I'm correct and smart and cool.
I
Oh, we
killed my
got an
plants.
ad.
Bummer. What kind of plants?
Some kind of fern?
Try putting
Plants
them
are
in the shower.
cool.
And I'll take your comments and I'll debate you guys in absentia as well. No, we're trying to give everybody a voice as much as possible. Scott, welcome, brother.
Hey.
Alright, so, which side am I on right now? Right now, I would say I am neutral. I haven't heard them speak yet, but given the physiognomy of these men, I would say that they are both strong and confident. So I am willing to hear them both out and see which one is the true alpha.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'll ask the same question that I asked the 7 conservatives I debated last week. Let's just start out simple. Why are you supporting Donald Trump?
Well, given the choice.
See, right now I'm kind of leaning with Cenk here. He started off strong and to the point. That shows that he is a really honest guy and that he really wants to know the truth of this matter here and just really not play any of politics. He just wants to know the truth, and I like that about him. So right now, Cenk is winning.
Choices, I think we have maybe one of the worst candidates of all time in Kamala Harris, and I think we have exactly what we know we're going to get because we have, one full term of Trump. And I like him on the border. I like him for the international stuff, the wars. I think he'll keep us out of more wars just by being scarier. I think on trade, he's tougher. And those are my big priorities. I think on abortion, I think he did a good job of kicking it to the states because, in my view, men should stay out of that topic entirely. And the states have more female voters than male. So over time, they're going to get what they want. And I think that was in the long run, that's going to look smart. So I think he's a good common sense president. And, there's.
Okay. I mean, breaking. Sorry, I almost coughed, and I didn't want to cough into the microphone. So I controlled my body to stop it. Stop it. So, Scott here, he made some really good points. He said the other candidate is the worst person who ever lived or something like that. And I mean, if that's the case, which it seems to be because he said it and Cenk didn't contest it, he didn't interrupt, he didn't scream or yell, so that means that Scott is probably correct here. And if that's true, then even if this guy is not the best guy, if this girl is the worst girl, then that would mean this guy would become the best guy. So I think right now Scott is winning the debate. And I really don't know how you would counter that.
There's a few things that both of them are promising. I don't expect to happen. Some of the tax cuts, that sort of thing. But that's business as usual.
No. The tax cuts for waiters and waitresses and stuff, that probably won't happen. But tax cuts for giant corporations, that'll definitely happen. That's the one thing that's guaranteed if Trump wins, in my opinion.
Yeah, so now oh, things are changing. Cenk is saying that this guy just lied. And he's saying that this is gonna happen. He is so strong and confident in these beliefs that I don't care what the facts say. This man and his shoulders, see how they're down, right? He's not all scrunched up like Scott is. Right now, this shows that Cenk here knows the future. He knows exactly what tax cuts will or won't happen while Scott is scared. He doesn't know what tax cuts are coming. And he's turtling. His head is going into his shell. This is a huge win for Cenk. I don't think Scott's coming back from this one. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry.
It's not like when Kamala Harris says that she's going to raise taxes on corporations, that I don't believe at all. But Trump decreasing them, I believe. But let me take the topics you mentioned one by one. You mentioned the border, and he's better on it. So he says, let's deport all the undocumented immigrants in America. You know, that number fluctuates, and we're not exactly sure what it is, 20 million or so.
Yeah.
You're not in favor of that, are you? And you don't think he's going to actually do that?
I don't even think about it much because it's not really possible. The first time he ran, he had similar kind of rhetoric. You know, I think it maybe was 10 million then. I forget the number. But I think everybody who's reasonable, who's ever worked in any big organization or had any kind of management experience, said something like this: he's going to deport people until we don't have a problem. Now, it could be that the only people who needed to be deported were the people who committed real crimes, or maybe they just came in on a Tuesday. You know, they just got here. But it seemed really, really unlikely he was going to pull people out of homes that have been there 10 years, paying taxes. You know, they think they're American in every way. So, you know, I'm very pro migrant, immigrant, because, you know, it's all the usual reasons. We're a country of that, and we need it, and we need more of it. And I think we have not enough people, but we have to do it smartly. That's the thing everybody says, and I don't think we're doing it as smartly right now. So I think if he becomes president, he'll get the criminals first. That will take something like 100% of all our capacity, and when that's done, you see how the country feels.
So that sounds really reasonable. Saying if people are mean and bad, we don't like mean, bad people, right? If I do something mean or bad, I go to prison. So then these people, we can't keep them here, I guess? Can we? Because they're not supposed to be here, and like, okay, this is a question I've always wondered about the illegal people. If you have like a dog at home and stuff, do you bring the dog with you? And if you don't, then like you need to go back to take care of your dog, right? That would be so horrible to just let the dog be hungry and needs to go for walks, and you're here instead of with your dog. And you're here apparently committing crimes. So I think the best thing for the person, for the country, and for the dog would be to take the mean people and give them back to their dogs, their family, maybe kids, if they have kids over there. Like, they should be hanging out with each other. So yeah, Scott's right. And two, maybe we should take it a step further, right? What if they do commit a crime, okay? We don't know that what if. It could, but it might not. And if it doesn't, then how would we know that it doesn't? But if it does, then we know because someone was a victim. So that means we always need to treat each of them like criminals, because all of them are, wait, yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. So I'm starting to side with Scott here that we gotta get rid of all these guys. And as far back as that goes, maybe 18th century Mexican American War, those guys gotta go. So let's see how Cenk could even combat this, okay? I doubt he will. Now, I bet you Cenk is gonna start to shrivel up into his shell. You can already see the shoulder pads that he has in to look stronger and bigger. They're folding. See how he's folding? Because he's under stress and the shoulders are beginning to raise. He is in fear in the eyes here. Oh, poor Cenk. He's cracking. Because whenever you have eye shapes like this, rather than like Chad eye shapes like this, it means you're wrong.
I'd love to see economists tell us when we're done. You know, I don't think politicians should tell us when we're done deporting. The economists should say, okay, that's too much. We need some. That's a better way to go, I think.
But Scott, I mean, unemployment's at a record low, so arguably we need some now, let alone maybe even more now. I agree with you. We have to do it in a legal way, in a documented way, and I hate that they never resolved it in Congress. But last time he did try a little bit. Now, to your point, he didn't try all the way, but he did go and grab some people that were just paying their taxes and running businesses and et cetera. And I remember this one case in Ohio, and everybody flipped out. They're like, well, we didn't mean our neighbors, but but he does mean your neighbors, though. Like, so he'll probably try that again. He's promised it over and over again. So you can live with him doing some of that.
Yeah, I think it's such a messy process.
See, maybe I was wrong before. Because now Cenk is making me question myself. If okay, people vote, right? And they love to vote. And they want their vote to do something. So, if the people don't want this, even if it's needed, like Scott is saying, and they want to keep their buddy, like their little illegal friend who lives next door, and they vote for that, and everyone votes for that, but then the buddy gets kicked out, now they do deserve to be mad. So I guess this brings up the question of, can you vote to get rid of specific people breaking the law? And I would think no, it has to apply across the board. If someone, let's just say, steals my candy bar and he gets immunity just because he's cool and popular and everyone at school likes him, which they did, and he did get away with it, that's not cool, and I don't like that. He should get in trouble for taking my candy bar. Or we should say, you know what, anyone can take anyone's candy bar. Which I guess I could be cool with that with Cenk, because there's no stopping the cool guy who went to my high school. He is always gonna take my candy bar. So I guess the only recourse I have is to go and take another guy's candy bar so that I can still have one. And then I can be the cool guy from high school who gets away with it. And then that guy probably doesn't care because he is somewhat of a cuck, and he just allows people to trample over him and the things he views as his self and has no boundaries. So that would mean that Cenk is right, that we should follow this model of allowing this to happen so that if it's a problem, then deal with it, because it's not.
So what you're going to get is to be a bunch of people that are still criminals that we couldn't catch, and you think, Trump, why didn't you get those criminals? You said you'd get them first. And then because it's messy, you're going to have a situation where somebody has really, turned their life into a good, productive American life, and their neighbors are going to say, well, we like this one. And then that will be a conversation we should have. I'm not in favor of getting rid of people who have already fit in and figured out how to make it work, and they're learning in English, and they're paying their taxes, and their kids are going to school. I think that's a whole different situation.
Okay, so you said on abortion.
So it sounds like who won? Well, it seemed like Scott wrapped it up pretty good there. He said we get rid of bad ones and keep good ones, I think, or something. It's pretty easy to judge who's good and who's bad, right? Like, if someone steals my candy bar, okay, then we know that that person's bad because they took what's mine, and I did nothing wrong, I think. I'm pretty sure. So then we would kick out that guy, and we would keep me, and then I could become the most popular kid in school. That'd be cool. Yeah, I think Scott won, and it sounds like because Cenk here is changing the debate, he's running. He's fleeing. He might even, like, leave the studio at this point because Scott destroyed him in every sense of the word.
Hey, it's good that it's back in the States. Obviously, women overall, and Americans, 7 out of 10 Americans don't agree. They think that there should be a national law saying that women's rights are protected. And so half the states are passing laws saying they're not protected and we're going to control their bodies. So I don't see how that's good for women. I don't see how that's good for pro-choice folks. And I don't see how it's good for freedom, Scott, because a lot of right-wingers constantly talking about freedom. I love freedom, but if you take away the freedom to choose what to do with your body and your life, that seems like government tyranny, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. But I think the thing with abortion is that first of all, it's life.
So he's saying that abortion is... What did he say? Let's go back a second.
Choose what to do with your body and your life, that seems like government tyranny, doesn't it?
Yeah, sorry, I spaced out there. But he's right. It sounds like tyranny because whenever he described it, it sounded really scary. And I don't want to be scared. I don't want to fear that the government will do things. I want to walk around my life and do whatever I want, whenever I want, and never worry that the government can stop me. So yeah, Cenk is right here.
Yeah, of course. But I think the thing with abortion is that first of all, it's life and death, and we're never going to agree. So if you take those two things as your starting point, it's literally life and death. No matter which way you're looking at it, it's going to be somebody's life.
That's true. I didn't think about that part of it, of how there is death here. I was just only thinking about the woman. I didn't think that their action did affect someone else. And that death is pretty big, like, oh, man. Yeah, it sounds like you can't do that. I can't go around and kill people and say it's my freedom, even though, like, maybe sometimes I've had a passing thought that I wish I could, or that, like, yeah, let's see what he says.
And if you can't agree, but you still have to run a country, your best way to solve that is having a credible decision-making process. In my view, the more men that are part of the decision-making, me, you, for example, it weakens the credibility. I'd love to see the state say, look, we got 55% of women voting here. We can have anything we want. This is what we decided to do in our state. That's as credible as you can get. Now, we're not there. So I would agree with you completely that we went from a stable system to a less stable system when it got kicked back to the states. But it does look like the kind of problem we could and should work through to get the most people the closest policy to what they want in the states.
I don't know if I'm ironically more conservative than you on this, but I think men should have a voice in the process. I don't think we have to get out of the way at all. But I do believe in democracy, and here it's crystal clear. I mean, and it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that? Did you see that? This is some good body language here. So, Cenk started to agree with him, and Scott had a problem with that. How do you have a problem with someone agreeing with you? Unless you're wrong. Unless you're insecure. And when you're an insecure man, right, it means you don't really have anything to contribute. You're wrong on just about all your opinions. And no one should really listen to you. And so why would I listen to a man who can't stand by his opinions? I want a man who is chiseled, right? Who has a confident stare, who belittles other people, not by like saying that you suck or you're less than me, but just by being so much better than everyone around him that everyone recognizes their inferiority compared to this great man. Like, take someone like Mike Tyson or Alexander the Great or Cenk you. These people, right, are monuments to what manliness is. And even if they're wrong, it doesn't matter because they create what is right and what is wrong. They are the arbiters of stability, of progress, and of direction. So even if their direction is wrong, it's the one that we need to do because they say so and they're cool and like very physically attractive. Because that's important. Like, physical attraction is what attracts us to them. Like, if compare, right? Cenk has this nice salt and pepper hair and a large physique with shaped eyebrows. This is a man that when he speaks, even if I'm not listening, even if I'm totally zoned out, I'm gonna be looking at him and just agree with what he says. Well, someone like the egg over here, why would I listen to him? You're an egg. If battle comes, you're gonna crack, Humpty Dumpty. Well, you will block the shots for me. You will take the arrow fire and continue swinging. So that's what this little finger here means. It means a lot.
By the way, the red states.
You got annihilated. He tried to interrupt and he couldn't because this man is too strong and powerful. How amazing. Yeah, he's won. That was it. At 7:05 out of 32 minutes, he just won.
Aren't even letting people vote. Like, the ones that let people vote, Kansas, Montana, Kentucky, pro-choice won because the country's so overwhelmingly pro-choice. So then they wisened up and they're like, okay, no more voting, no more voting. We're just gonna have the Republican legislators mandate this stuff. So again, doesn't feel like freedom, doesn't feel like democracy. and just kicking it over to undemocratic legislators in red states, I don't see what it solves at all.
Well, yeah, I agree with you that it's a mess right now. So I don't think anybody could be happy with it in its current situation. So the hope is that the voters and specifically the women. I mean, if you look at the fact that half of the men are going to agree with abortion and half the men are going to be against it, if the women were overwhelmingly for it or against it, that's what their state would go. So it really is the women will have, and like you said, there's some technical things, there's some game playing and stuff like that. But I think that those politicians get kicked out in the long run. It just will take longer than people are happy with. But I think in the long run, you get a better, more credible result.
Yeah.
That was the greatest comeback of all time. He was down. He was out. And there was no hope for him. And now he's winning. Politics is so hard because it's so over, and then we just start winning, and then it's over and we're winning. This is more exciting than WWE or WWF or politics. This is awesome.
Well, look, last thing on this is I think that there is a way to tell between life and death. I think it's independent life needs to be protected, so that's why I believe in Roe v. Wade as legislation. I discussed this on Thursday night. I don't think the Supreme Court made the right decision. I don't think abortions and trimesters are in the Constitution. But that doesn't mean that you give it to the states. We can decide on a national level, because human rights are not some things that we should let some states decide, oh yeah, we'll take those away. I mean, we tried that before, Scott, and it ended in disaster, and it ended in civil war. So
Cenk's right here. If this is going to be civil war, then I don't want civil war. So we should not do the thing. Alright. So let's skip to the end because this is just starting to get monotonous. This part looks interesting. Oh no.
it was a massive fraud.
Okay.
2, there is no provision in the Constitution to terminate all of the articles and rules and regulations in the Constitution, and that is deeply un-American.
That sounds to me like something that if anybody pushed it, it would go to the courts. The courts would work it out. See, with January 6th, my thing with January 6th is that January 20th or 21st is the time that you need to.
Wait, so what's so special about January 6th? He was just listing off a couple January dates. I know New Year's is on the 1st. And February's after January. So I'm not sure what this all is about. But Scott talked last, so he's probably right. Let's skip further ahead.
There's no energy for that on the right whatsoever. I promise you.
Scott, I will hold you to that promise. If Trump wins and he goes in that direction, have you back on and hopefully rally the populist right to oppose it. Okay?
If he does, I'll join your side.
All right.
I promise.
That's beautiful. I love it. All right, Scott Adams, thank you for joining.
Alright, so that was the end of the debate. And who won and what politics am I saying? So we talked about a wide range of topics. We talked about January and women and Civil War and things like that. And it seems like Cenk was correct about everything, because at the end there he said, you'll make a promise and I'll hold you to it, and Scott bended the knee and said, "Sure, I will do whatever you say, Daddy." And that sounds like that. Scott bended the knee. So he is wrong about everything. That's interesting. I didn't realize that politics had such a back and forth to it. It was really close the whole time. I thought that someone was just going to blow the other one away. But it really was back and forth. They made some great opinions about things. That was pretty cool. And I would say right now, I'm a Cenkian. And I will follow him to the end. Wherever he goes, I will be there with him. Maybe we can do this more often, guys. Maybe we can check out Cenk, or maybe we can look at someone else. We probably won't look at him because he's a loser. Whenever you lose, like, why would I pay any attention to you? So he's out. But yeah, maybe we could listen to him. I started listening to this for the video, thinking maybe that we could talk about this. But I got like that far in, and it was really boring. Like, they were just talking about what are the terms of the debate, what are our words, and that's boring. This was fun. So alright, guys, have a good day, and I hope that you guys can start to politics yourself now that I have inspired you.